Hi everyone, welcome to my next video. I'm just walking up and down my driveway. It's kind of an overcast, windy day, and I just didn't feel like taking the dogs for a hike. Maggie's doing really well, and I think the key is to not take her for such long hikes anymore. And I wanted to talk about something that is very frightening to me and very alarming, and that is why boomers apparently are being hated by the younger generations. I guess you call them millennials or Gen Zs or whatever the heck they are. I don't know why we need to categorize people anyway. I think it's ridiculous. Anyway, I think categorizing people creates distancing and a you versus me mentality, and it also separates people in terms of who they like, who they don't like, who belongs, who doesn't belong, and creates much more judgmental issues for people. But maybe that's the way us meager humans are in our faulty ways. But I was really shocked when I recently discovered all of these hateful, not hateful channels, but hateful comments on channels about how boomers are being blamed for the current state of the world, or at least in my country, the US. And I'm seeing it in a bigger light, in a bigger picture. Because these younger people, younger than us, did not live in the 80s when we worked hard. And yes, things were cheaper. My rent in Mountain View, California for a one bedroom was only, I think, $160. And it was very cute. It had a swimming pool, laundry, beautiful place. Nothing fancy, but quite adequate. And I was able to afford it all on my own with my meager position as a data entry clerk. Those days are gone. But if you think back to 100 years ago, 1880, what was life like then? How hard did people work? What did they have? How much did they sacrifice? Nothing is static. And with each generation is going to be faced with new challenges. And I honestly think it comes down to survival of the fittest, as shocking as that sounds, because that's nature. We're evolving, our culture is evolving, our society is evolving, and for those who can't adapt, won't make it. And that's a tough thing to hear. Now, I'm going to talk about hatred because I think hatred is a very scary thing, because it seems to incite, or it does incite, violence, animosity, blaming, and I'm wondering if many people are drawn to hatred as a release from their own frustrations. And I really think that's a lot to do with it. Because if you can blame someone else for your own situation, it removes all responsibility from you for making it better. And did I have it easy growing up? No. I worked, and although if I had not been so foolish with my finances, I would be very financially set right now. But that's okay, because I'm not materialistic anyway. But we didn't have the internet. We had a slower life. We had different values and different ways to connect with each other. And to me, that was a better time. Because now it seems to be a society of, I want this, I want that, and if I can't have it, I'm going to blame somebody else. And I don't want to generalize, and I don't mean to, certainly, but yes, housing is incredibly affordable. Jobs are very difficult to be found. But again, it goes with adapting with the times. And sure, things are hard, but that means things change. And when things change, you have to change with it. And like me, for example, I wasn't crazy about learning how to use the internet. I didn't want to do all of the functions and bill paying online when it first came out. I thought it was confusing. But I had to adapt, and I had to learn. And now I'm comfortable with it. And who knows what will happen 50 years from now, 10 years from now with AI. And I thought of this morning because AI will be infiltrating our lives more and more as time goes by, whether we like it or not. Because it's going to get to the tipping point, which is where AI, a computer with a digital brain, will be teaching itself. And I believe that one day it will come to the realization of how stupid we all are. And talk about seeing boomers as being irrelevant or the problem. What if AI begins to assess us all in terms of how we're functioning and contributing to society? What if AI begins to discard values that we cherish, and life as we know it today will be vastly different, just like it's vastly different today from 1980. And with all this hate, we're going nowhere. We're just promoting hate, and we're causing fear, and we're disrupting any sense of stability by encouraging hate, because hate solves nothing. Blame solves nothing. What did I do as a boomer? I was born and I did the best I could. That's what I did. Raised a daughter, did the best I could. Worked very hard, commuting, getting up at 4:30 in the morning, working 12-hour days, paying my bills. I did the best I could. I lived in the world that I was brought into. I didn't blame anybody for my situations. Even when things got bad, I didn't blame anybody. So where's all this blame coming from? Is it an entitlement? And I'm really curious what you all think. And I hesitate to say that because, in a way, I'm generalizing the younger folks. I don't mean to do that. But in a way, it's not their fault, because look at all the material things they have available to them these days. Do they really need everything they have? And yes, buying a house is out of reach for so many, but maybe you don't need a house. Maybe you don't need that job to pay for that house. Maybe a different lifestyle will work for you, rather than try to fit in with the lifestyle that is so demanding today. And I hope that makes sense, because animals adapt. They adapt to the weather, the changing seasons. They adapt to different climates and utilize their skills for different needs and different places where they live. So why can't people? And no, life isn't supposed to be easy. And years ago, sure, you could say that boomers might have had an easier life, but I beg to differ, because we still had to work hard. We had our own problems, our own struggles, and even though things didn't require as much of an income as they do now, we still had to meet those demands. And so I really get spooked by the idea that I could be hated just because I'm a boomer, or whatever you want to call me. Now I'm gonna share something that I'm not sure if I'm possibly right in my assumption or not. But years ago when I worked, I did not have any college education, and all I had was my ability to connect with customers and to understand their concerns, find the answers, and get back to them. And I was very good at doing that. And that was one reason I kept getting promotions, because I took on my workloads with a willingness to serve the customer. And that's what it was all about back then. And I remember my manager at a very large company where I worked. We were in a meeting, and what he told us I'll never forget. And what he said was, I don't care what our clients need or ask. It's our job to figure it out. I never want to hear you say, I don't know. What your job is to figure it out. And that really stuck with me. And many times a client would call with a question and I didn't have the answer. Well, my answer was, I don't have the answer for you right now, but I am going to find out. And I will get back to you and I would give them a time. By 4 o'clock, by tomorrow, within the hour. I would always promise them that I would find out the answer and I would get back to them. And I always did, because I honored the customer. So I'm wondering what happened to all that today? Because I'm not seeing customer service the way it was years ago. And it's a different world. Maybe it's because of all the automation, but I don't think so, because I'm going to give you an example. And I did a video about a grocery store clerk about a month ago, and this is kind of similar, because I drove to my local bank, one of them, and the gentleman helping me with what I needed to do was rather cold, very abrupt, and he reminded me of a robot. And one of you actually mentioned in one of the comments that people are seeming like robots these days. And I sort of wonder if we're living in a virtual reality, or we're slipping into a new one where people are becoming robots or evolving into robots. Because this guy was so emotionless. And also what he did was he'd overtalk me, meaning whenever I was trying to explain something, he'd just keep talking as if he didn't even hear me. He didn't want to hear me. And I just kind of threw up my hands and said, hey, go for it. I'll wait till you're done. Not an apology, not a nothing. Just he was going to do what he was going to do no matter what, even though I was the customer. Well, I went along with it, and I had what I needed to be done. Now, yesterday, my phone rang from the very same bank, and it was the manager of the bank, actually, the branch manager. And apparently this guy had made a mistake with my account. And would I come back in and sign some more paperwork? And I asked her, I said, first of all, I'm an hour away. And if the bank made a mistake, I already signed it. So isn't it your job to find that paper and figure out what happened? She said, well, the guy's not here. He's sick. He's out today. And if you don't come back here, we'll just close your account. And I was shocked. I thought, are you kidding me? You want me to get in my truck and drive all the way back an hour one way to fix the mistake that you guys made? Do you think I got an apology? No. It was very cold, very, very off-putting that I even dared to ask her that. And she told me she'd call me back later, which she did. And apparently they had found the mistake and they had fixed it, and everything was fine. But still, she was very robotic, not an apology, and I wondered why she'd even called me in the first place, why they hadn't resolved the issue before they even bothered to call me. And I realized, what the heck is going on with people's minds today? When do they ever take responsibility for what they did and figure it out, instead of blaming the customer who did nothing wrong? and it would have been nice for her to say, gee, I'm sorry if we inconvenienced you, or, we apologize for the mix-up. Nope. Just a very fake, have a nice day, bye, click. So I guess my question is it because you think I'm old and I'm being seen as one of these boomers who are just probably so old they don't have much value, so why bother being courteous? Or am I sort of overthinking it, and these people are just this way anyway? And I just see such a vast difference between how I was at work treating customers and how people are today. And I don't know if the internet is encouraging this robotic behavior, but honestly, with AI, I seriously believe that people are going to be possibly replicated one day. And we won't know if we're talking to a real person or a computer. And that really freaks me out because I don't want to be replaced by a computer or by a robot. And gosh, isn't this world amazing? It's just changing so very rapidly. But I'm going to go back to close this out with why there's so much hatred for boomers. And some of the hate I saw online uh, scared me because these comments were wishing we were no longer and waiting for us to pass on. And I believe these people really meant it. And how hateful can you possibly be? I didn't do anything to anybody. I just did the best I can with my own life. I didn't choose the year I was born. Neither did they. And if they can't evolve with the passage of time, and as our world evolves, because I've certainly had to evolve with it, it's not 1980 or 1970 anymore. And I sure wish it was, because to me, life was better then. You walked down the street and you talked to friends. You sat in their kitchen and you had conversations. You didn't send them emails. You walked to the post office and mailed all your bills. And you didn't spend hours and hours and hours online being brainwashed by so many things that aren't even true. And so please share your concerns or your comments. And maybe I'm overthinking this a bit much, but in a way, I don't think I am. I think this world is becoming darker. And on the religious theme, it's the good old good versus evil is what it is. And it's the constant conflict between what is good and what is bad. And it can be presented in so many different forms. And I understand that on that level. And I also know that that is why I need to keep my channel strong and promote who I am as a very positive, uplifting, and strong lady, to encourage everyone else to never be afraid of the darkness, to never be afraid of hate, to never be afraid of criticism or judgment, because those people are weak, and to find blame and blame someone else for their own situation is purely their lack of accountability, plain and simple. And I hope that helps some of you who have been blamed for various reasons and have taken on that guilt and feel that you're responsible. And yes, we all make mistakes, and we can try to make amends. But again, the past is the past. And it's also the responsibility of the blamer to realize that and to move past the blame and to take their own accountability. So I don't know why boomers, well, I guess we're taking on all the blame for the dysfunction of the world today, meaning the price of housing, the vast difference in the haves versus the have-nots. And it's almost as though the younger generation believe we did this intentionally. And that is a very twisted way to think. And it's also very scary, because if you're hated, that means that hateful people do harmful things. And I hope that never comes to fruition, because I'm just going to stay out here in the woods and mind my own business and have fun with my channel and live my life. And sadly, watch the world grow darker, because it is, day by day. So I hope you found this video thought-provoking. And it's getting really chilly out here. I'm going to go home and make sure the fire is still going. And please feel free to share your comments, what you think about us boomers being hated and being blamed for the economy. and being blamed for all the troubles that the younger people are facing in today's world. And I'd like to speak to the younger people, and that is that you did not live through the Depression. You were not in Germany in the 1940s to see all the hate that was going on there. And who knows what else hundreds of years ago with previous generations hating each other. And all you're doing is provoking more people to hate and promoting the idea of us versus them, rather than promoting the idea of a peaceful world where we can all work together to solve issues. And that was the reason why I did this video, because I'm going to continue to promote the good in the world and outshine the bad. And that is my purpose. So thanks so much, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day wherever you are. And I look forward to all of your comments, as I always do. Take care.